What is up, guys? It's me, Little Al, back again with Stories of Sodor Friday, even though this is being recorded on a Thursday. And we are on the third episode, we're at the third episode, I believe, of Stories of Sodor Season 4 Part 2, which is entitled Creature. So, if you want to avoid spoilers for the last episode, then go check that out, or my reaction to it previously. But if you're still here, 3, 2, 1. We lost Andreas last episode, which was rather sad, but at the same time, it was rather underplayed, which I think's done very well. That kind of like it emphasizes, like, Victor wants to make this as life as who wants to. I don't really know if it's like realistic is the word, but he wants to kind of make this as lifelike as possible, and death is a factor that's very continuous. So there's no kind of hidden drama behind the kind of heroic actions, if you see what I mean. Because like back in the if you think about back the time period that this was set, there was no there were no like safety precautions and stuff. So deaths like Andreas would happen to actual people. Like they would go through a lot of these setbacks, and they would just continue on with their lives. In Victor's case, continuing with the series. So as sad as it is, it wasn't as kind of impactful, which which really isn't a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing. But we're gonna move on to a creature today. This episode was actually teased in the previous one. That apparently some kind of beast that wandered around the Nartwin Valley. It was a throwaway comment, but here I feel like it's going to be explored a bit more fully. So I can't wait for this episode, to be honest. I'm very looking forward to this, getting back into Stories of Sodor. Drop a video a like if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel too if you want to see more content like this, and with that, let's go.
The train, for its type, is the most powerful vehicle on land. And the engines of Sodor are the power behind the docks, industries and branch lines that make up the world-renowned Northwestern Railway.
Duck and Oliver are also on Sodor now, that's confirmed.
These are the stories of Sodor.
So just seeing that, the small railway, I have a theory that they're going to come into play this season, so this theme song will never not be good. It's not even original for this series, but it's so good. Also, we were introduced to Rusty last episode, which is nice seeing him. Creature. Let's go.
For the longest time, I had always been skeptical of the phrase, "there's no such thing as bad publicity." Then disaster struck the Skarloey Railway, and I saw firsthand how true this was. News of Andreas' death made the headlines, and the SKR was swamped by visitors, many of whom offered their condolences to the engines. I'm pleased to say the immense outpouring of support helped them work through their grief. Moreover, the ongoing expansion throughout the Nartwin Valley kept the chaps busy. On that note, they continued to make very good progress over the following months. Even the onset of winter did little to slow them down.
Ooh.
That's not to say it was smooth sailing the entire time, or that mistakes weren't made.
Oh, Duncan gets spooked reference.
Fancy not securing your trucks on a hill. I'm appalled at you, Stuart. I never thought you of all engines could be so careless. I'm sorry, sir. I have no excuse. No, you do not. If I didn't need every single engine available, I'd have you shunt trucks in the yard until I could trust you again. Excuse me, sir, but I'm just as much to blame. I did bank Stuart up that hill, and if I'm not mistaken, you were late to your next job because of it. You are not a brake van, Rusty. For that matter, why didn't you have one? I did, sir, but the coupling broke. We didn't know how close a replacement was, so I decided to chance
Always
it.
with the
You should have
excuses.
gotten a replacement. I would have
Stuart.
understood the delay. Instead, you cost us an entire train and its cargo. I don't know what to say, sir. What can I do to make this right?
I find it interesting how he still has the mid-Sodor couplings. How Stuart, Falcon, and Duke, they still have the mid-Sodor couplings, which is strange because you'd think like since they're working on a different railway, they change it to like obviously they haven't had their names changed yet, but I find it interesting how their models are still Exactly. Their couplings are still exact. I don't know why I just picked up on that.
on with your regular duties, and please be more careful. Now, turn to your situation, Skarloey. It's all right, Sir Handel. I'm fine. You didn't sound fine as you limped into the station. We can't risk you breaking down, so I'm taking you out of rotation until you've had a full service. The trick is, how am I going to cover your duties? I can cover them, sir. Are you sure? Yes, sir. No problem. What's the first job? A passenger train to Sodor. Perfect. I'm taking a goods train there. I can couple the trucks up behind the coaches and take them in a single trip. Well, if you're absolutely certain, Duncan, go ahead. And thank you. My pleasure, sir. Happy to help.
He's become so much nicer, Duncan.
Something wrong, lads? Don't get me wrong, Duncan. I appreciate you covering my jobs, but please don't overdo it. You practically pushed me all the way from Krusty Kern. Pah, all I did was give you a nudge. You did plenty of the work. You always do. Anyway, I best get going. Don't want to keep the passengers waiting. Skarloey? Yes, sir? Have you ever known Duncan to be so agreeable, polite, considerate, kind? No, sir. Never. It's almost frightening. So was my cock-up. You made a mistake, Stuart, but at least nobody got hurt. Maybe not. What do you mean? Of course I chased after the trucks after they broke away. By the time I reached the bridge, they'd already gone over. As I was crossing, I heard what sounded like a roar. And when I looked down into the ravine, I could have sworn I saw something walk away from the crash site. What sort of something? I couldn't tell. Maybe a bear? Whatever it was, I'm terrified to think some poor animal got hurt. If it was able to walk away, it couldn't have been too badly injured, if at all. And besides, most animals will be hibernating this time of year. Then what did I see?
Because I don't think we have bears here. In this country. Maybe up north, but I'll have to look this up, you know. This is a Google time. Get me in Vixdal's office. There's loud footsteps. There's such loud footsteps. What is going on? What just happened? Is he dead?
What happened to him? Let me put it this way. They found his head 6 feet away from his body.
Yeah.
Good grief. What could have done that? There were clumps of fur around the site, so maybe a bear? A bear? Hold on, Rusty. I know what you're thinking. This can't be because of what happened with Stuart.
I need to know.
Are you so sure, Duke? I've never been a fan of coincidences because they don't exist. Oh, hello, Jack. What brings you here? 'Tis the season, Rheneas. Fog's more common this time of year. Sir Handel's asked me to do some work around your line. Well, I can't think of a better man for the job. Oh, have you met Rusty by any chance? Can't say I have. Hello, Rusty. Hello, Mr. Bailey. Nice to finally meet you. I've heard a lot about you.
Or the Alec Baldwin voice for old Bailey. I tried to warn you about that beast. Why didn't you listen?
Funny how relics are always so well known. And don't call me Mister. It's Jack. All right. So...
Jackie.
Jack, you don't believe in coincidences? No, and I'll tell you why. You heard about the owl that hoots every time Mr. Fogg is about to roll in? Yes, it's never been wrong. That can't be coincidence. You have a point, but I find it hard to believe a wild animal would carry out such a precise attack. Regardless of what did it or why, it poses a serious threat. A group of hunters have already been organized to track it down. I heard, and I have very mixed feelings about that. Me too, but I'd rather do my job knowing I won't be mauled to death.
For some reason, that reminds me of Enterprising Engines episode Pigeon Hunting, where some hunters were illegally hunting.
If you were mauling if you don't bug off, what was that? This area is for railway workers only. I'm a railway fogman, son. Well, you're in the way. Shove off, Grandad. Say that again. What? Say that again. Can you please just move? I'll do you one better. I've got some time to kill, so I'll give you a hand. That'd be great. If you could start with those boxes. Sure thing. See you later, lads. Nice meeting you, Rusty. Yeah, you too. Bust my buffers. I thought
funny.
for sure he was going to deck that prat. He would have if he called him Grandad again. You don't disrespect Old Bailey. Why do they call him Old Bailey anyway? Because he's been around forever.
Yeah, he's begging for that nickname. He's begging for the nickname, for the derogatory of Grandad if he's called Old Bailey.
They were calling him Old Bailey back when I was an impertinent scallywag. You were built, old grandpuff. You impertinent scallywag.
Repetition.
I don't like this. This what? Being out in the dead of night with a dangerous animal on the loose. Oh, come off it. We're not talking about a rampaging rhino here. I'm sure you can survive a bear. I'd also survive getting hit by a bullet. That doesn't mean I want to get shot.
Or a hippo. If anybody's seen Thomas 1, Edward 2, Henry 3 series.
You've got to be kidding. That sounded close. Let's check it out. I thought the idea was to run away from gunfire.
You didn't serve during the war, so... I was about to say, wouldn't it be cool if the narrow gauge engines served during World War II as well? But to be fair, Stanley did serve during World War I before he came to Sodor. I just remembered. Oh, don't tell me he's gonna get killed. He's surely... Is it? Oh my god. I can't... That running animation's so good. Oh, thank God. Oh, it's a person, okay. Wait, what? What just happened? I will say that's one thing I do have with Victor's series, and it's mostly to do with like the software he uses, because he uses trains. It's a bit difficult to kind of track what exactly is going on, you know? Like, it's because it's all done with the kind of dialogue and still images, unless when the train is moving. Because, like, most of his series involves humans, and you can't move humans in trains. That screech is more terrifying than
what happened?
That screech is more terrifying than Dominic's. God's sake.
We've been following it all day, but each time we closed in, it gave us the slip. We thought we finally had it. Then, all of a sudden, it came out of nowhere. I think it led us into a trap. How can a bear? That was no bloody bear. It was 3 heads taller than me and just as wide. It walked on 2 legs and was covered in dark fur. It had a face like an ape, with fangs jutting from its lower jaw. Looked like something straight out of hell. And it got my mates. All right. I've called the police and they're on their way. In the meantime, let's go wait in my office. Don't worry. We'll do all we can to help find your friends. If they're even alive.
I mean, did you see what he did to that workman?
Tall, hairy, fangs, walks on 2 legs. Doesn't that sound like Rheneas? There has never once been a Notchwind-related attack. The poor lad is probably confused. So confused he conflated a bear with a creature out of folklore. It's possible, Rheneas. I once had a soldier climb onto the roof of my cab because he thought he was being chased by a horde of screaming mice. Trauma can wreak havoc with the mind. Trauma or not, it sounds like his party ran afoul
Mice?
of something.
Bloody hell.
I have a sinking feeling this is going to get worse before it gets better. And unfortunately, he was right. The police, in conjunction with the SKR, set off the following morning with a search party. They found the missing hunters, or what was left of them. Of course, it was impossible to keep the details of such a slaughter under wraps.
Also, one thing I do like is because originally when he did Dead Bodies, he just used a skeleton model, but now he puts the models lying down with blood underneath them. So I think that's a much more realistic choice.
Likewise of the survivors.
Considering the human models that exist in this.
His testimony, this created a lot of fear. To keep the situation from getting out of control, the army was called in. All throughout the valley and surrounding communities, checkpoints and roaming patrols were established alongside a curfew. There were those who balked at this state of near martial law, which led to a few clashes and a few arrests.
Bailey?
He didn't. He did. Clocked him right in the jaw. Took 3 troopers to hold him back, but he kept on fighting. I heard old Bailey was a hard man, but fizzling fuses. It's also absurd bringing in soldiers to catch a wild animal. This is a little more than a wild animal, Duncan. Sorry, I worded that wrong. It's just... using force to break up protests always rubs me the wrong way. Why's that?
I also quite like how the little how Scarlo's having maintenance done whilst he's having this conversation. Just like it, just those little things that just grounds the series. I feel. Because like they talked about how Scarlo needed maintenance beforehand.
Don't mean to be rude, Rusty, but I'd rather not get into it. What am I saying? It's a bit late for that. I'm sorry I was rude to you when you first arrived, and thank you for your help when I derailed back in the gorge. Don't mention it. It's what I'm here for, and I'm very glad of it.
You took a long time to apologise. Bloody hell.
I avail myself of your expertise right now. I'm heading into the valley soon to collect the little kipper. Have you got any words of caution or advice? No, except
Watch out for the
be
beast.
careful. That'll do nicely. I'll see you later.
Actually,
Bye.
no, it comes out. Does it only come out at night?
Bust my buffers,
Must do.
I am completely at a loss. It's like someone flipped a switch. Have you noticed he's been this way since Andreas died? How did Stanley put it? Trauma can wreak havoc with the mind? And what he said just now about protests being broken up. Has anything like that ever happened around here before? No, never. Maybe he was talking about his old railway. Where was that? I don't know. He never told us. We tried asking, but he always told us to bug off.
I remember from the Railway series that his old home was he used to work in a factory. So, especially since that's what his model was based off. So...
And Mr. Sam was always cagey about where he got him from. Since he's so much more agreeable,
Factory
maybe we can ask him now.
guess?
Maybe. We'll do it tonight.
Uh-oh. Foreshadowing Kevin MacLeod music. Sinister, I should say. KVTH Fish Merchants. The lighting in Trains 2019 is so good. Uh-oh. Something's happened to him.
What do you mean missing? Exactly that. He never came back. They phoned Polwich and they said he left. Nobody's seen him since. That's impossible. An engine doesn't just disappear along with its train. Unless they've run afoul of something. You don't think, bust my buffers, we need to do something. I say we go look for him. Now wait a moment. What's there to wait for? One of us is out there. Right, out there with a killer monster on the loose. You really want to go searching for one and risk bumping into the other? If that happens and it's prepared to throw hands, I'll be happy to oblige. Reneus,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Scar Louis, but I'm tired of living in fear. Whatever's out there, it's time we showed it who's in charge. That would be Sir
Galvan's old
Handel, and he'd
engine?
go balmy if we did this. Well, I haven't seen him for hours, and since he isn't here to stop us from going, I say we're in the clear. You can count me in, and I can't let you two have all the fun. Are you going to be all right? I'll manage. Are you coming, Ivo? all right. But what do we do about the army? They're bound to turn us away at the first checkpoint. What are they going to do? Arrest us? Come on.
Send you to rail. To be fair, engine prison is a thing in this universe. SKR assemble. Actually, no laughing. Serious mode. Serious black. Oh boy, this is intense. Hate to state the obvious, but it is. Oh, Nelly. Oh, Neldred. Oh, Godred.
Where are they?
Where
Maybe
the
this
hell
thing
are
got
they?
them too. I don't see any blood or bodies. Very strange soldiers would leave their posts.
Who
trains
cares
stop
where they
here.
are as long as it's not here? At least we won't have to worry about them.
Agreed.
forever?
I suggest we split up. You two take the left line. Ivo and I will head right. Yes, splitting up. That always
Split up
ends
and
so
look for
well.
clues.
Oh, shut up, Ivo. Come on, Rusty, let's go.
So who's going to be Daphne and who's going to be Fred?
Skalloey, what's wrong? I've got a cramp. Bollocks, this hurts.
Are you alright? Can you move?
Yes and no. Not on my own. Looks like I won't be much use here. Ivo, you'll have to tow me back to Croven's Gate. Gladly.
We'll keep going. We've come this far, so we may as well.
All right, but for the love of God, please be careful.
This is new music. Is it? No, it isn't. It is. It can't be. I've heard it before, certainly, yeah. It's another Kevin MacLeod piece. Oh no, fog. Yeah, god damn it. Just, can owls just go extinct in this universe, please? Because it seems whenever fog comes around, something goes wrong. That was a bit morbid, I do apologise. Hey, my name is Little Owl. So basically I should just kill myself now. I bring trouble to Stories of Sodor. Oh fuck. Yep, monster. I love the sound. I love the sounds he uses for fight scenes. It's just like I don't know where he gets that sound effect from, but it's so funny. Oh bloody hell! Ran straight through them. Bailey? I still want to know what this thing is. If it's some kind of hoax or... Oh shit, no.
Fizzling fireboxes, what is going on out there?
The more immediate question is, what is going on here? What's all this about you four gallivanting about the valley in the middle of the night? Are you moonlighting as park rangers?
No, sir, we went looking for Duncan.
Duncan?
He's missing, sir. He hasn't been seen since yesterday.
Wait, you didn't get my message?
Message,
No.
sir?
Oh, I am so sorry. There must have been a breakdown in communication. Duncan's all right, relatively speaking. He had an accident in the valley. He collided with a lorry. His condition was too severe to risk bringing him back by rail, so they loaded him onto a flatbed.
Are you saying he's been at the works the whole time, sir?
Oh my
Yes, I'm guessing nobody noticed him arriving by road? Very strange.
No.
And frustrating. Well, where have you been, sir? You've been gone almost as long as Duncan. The lorry he collided with belonged to the army. I've been trying to wrangle details of the crash out of them ever since.
What have they said?
That their lorry broke down at a crossing, and Duncan, who was apparently speeding, ran into it.
I call rubbish on that, sir.
That's-
I would too. But Duncan does have a history of recklessly riding the rails. He
Yeah,
may
but
have
he's
turned over a
changed.
new leaf in recent times, but one is always defined by their past. What's going to happen, sir?
Old habits
well,
die
I'm
hard.
not banking on receiving compensation from the army, which wouldn't be the end of the world. The influx of customers we had before this crisis has shored up our finances, so we can comfortably afford Duncan's repairs, but those will take a while.
Is he in that bad of a state?
Indeed, he's looking at a complete overhaul. Did you four really go looking for him? Yes, sir, and we found more than we bargained for. How so?
The details of that night spread rapidly across the island. The area where it happened was searched the next day, and absolutely nothing was found.
my
Nobody
God.
was able to ask Old Bailey about it, as he disappeared for a good while. When he finally did resurface, he denied being there, citing the curfew as reason why he couldn't have been. Without corroboration, Rusty and Renese's recount was largely
it's
ignored.
Old Bailey.
Especially
He breaks the rules. He does what he wants.
after the army announced they had eliminated the threat. Turns out it had been a bear the entire time. A female.
That did not look like a bear. But one, the model that was the one. See, I'm using one. One, the model did not look like a bear. Like the actual model, it was standing on its hind legs, for crying out loud. Two, I'm still unsure about this, and I mentioned it twice already, but I'm not sure if bears exist in this country. I'm gonna have to look it up, but What a
Mail bear. It seems Stuart's
What's-
trucks had
and
landed
also,
on her.
also, what's the difference between it being a female or a fail bear, transgendered bear? I am scuffering this reaction so much. I do
Cubs,
apologize.
causing the enraged mother to go on a rampage. The
Ah.
hunter's testimony was also discredited after it came to light he had a drinking problem. There were skeptics to this explanation, but they too
don't
were
know why I
ignored.
found that.
Everyone just wanted life to get back to normal and were happy to accept what they had been told. As for Duncan,
I don't know
he
why I
had a
found that
long
funny.
road to recovery. In a strange turn, neither he nor his crew could remember the accident. Since there were no witnesses save the soldiers allegedly involved, and coupled with his spotty record, the investigation ruled the SKR's number 6 must have been speeding. Therefore, the company received no compensation. But as Sir Handel said, this wasn't a severe hardship for the railway, which did recoup its losses in time. The expansion continued
Yay.
and all was well. For a time. Yes, I'm afraid the narrow gauge chaps still had one more trial ahead of them. But that is a story for another day.
We've already had one episode with the boulder. God damn it. Well, that was fun. Okay, I do love Stories of Sodor. It's absolutely just I don't even know because it's got such good writing, such good characterization, and it feels so grounded. It feels so real. You know, and I think like I think that was Victor's intention the entire time. Like I think he's really succeeded in making this world feel as real as possible. But it seems we're going to have a Rusty and the Boulder interpretation next episode, which we've already had one episode with a boulder, and that was back in season 3. So it'd be interesting seeing what this one is about. But I think because I have to emphasize actually that I'm 2 episodes behind now. When it comes out this Friday, I will be officially 2 episodes behind. But I think the next one is to do with the Lucky Lamp, which you can kind of tell by the way it just says lamp. But it should be interesting seeing that one. But we'll have to wait until next Friday. So like I said at the beginning of the video, drop the video a like if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel too, and I will see you guys next time. This is Little Al speaking.